Hello and welcome to part 6 of ChildTrax version 3.14.6 release. Um, this video is in response to case management changes that have happened on ChildTrax with this release. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to foster care census. There's about 7 or 8 changes I'm going to cover right now. I'm going to go to Tom Cruise and we're going to look at his page. The first change has to do with the case management agencies. If you look at this case management setup, as foster care super agency start on 12/20. Well, there's a bug presently on the system that if you change that 12/20 date, it doesn't come out and change these contact start dates. So let's say instead of being placed on 12/20, the kid was actually placed on 12/18. So you go out and you fix everything. You put case management to 12/18 to get the client care module where it needs to be. And then you look at your contact types. Although they're still dated for 12, they were still, before this change, they would still been dated at 12/20. This change fixes that problem. So as soon as you change your case management date, it's going to roll those start dates down to all your different contact types. What was happening before, let's say this was a real thing, is you say 12/20, you change to 12/18, the contact types didn't get changed. Your case manager went out and did a contact on 12/19, they would never see the contact types for 12/19 because they all started on 12/20 instead of 12/18. So this first change is anytime you edit this date, that change is rolled down to the active contact types. The second change, I'm going to switch over and go to an agency on how we set things up. Well, no, we'll just look at client care. Right now, the only way we have on ChildTrax to schedule these items in client care is based off a placement date or a user date. When we talk about user date, we're talking about where it says no worker due date, or it used to say incomplete, now it says no worker due date. Well, now that we have another option when we configure these things, we can base it off a discharge date. So like your discharge summaries now won't even be scheduled until the kid is discharged, and then we can schedule like within 7 days of discharge, 30 days of discharge, whatever. So then the next few changes have to do with clinical items. So let's call up the clinical screen. One of the first changes I want to talk about is when I expand out this section and I hit one of these edits, or I hit an add, or whatever I hit. Let's go ahead and hit add here. Say person responsible, and just hit some letters, hit save. Now what used to happen when I would save this and it came back here, this would all be collapsed. It would be sitting there like that. Well, now it doesn't. It keeps you open right where you were. And let's look at that again. So what used to happen was when you close this, this would collapse back up. Now it stays open so you know exactly where you were. So let me go ahead and get this set up because this is going to lead right into our next change. Okay, so that's one of the first changes in clinical items. This stays right where it was when you navigate away with one of these buttons here to do something. The second thing that happens, any child, this hierarchy is called a parent-child relationship. So this is a parent to these 3 things. These 3 things are child to that parent. Well, this objective is also a parent to these 3 things, and these 3 things are a child to objective. Now there's no add button, so there's no children underneath these things. And one of the biggest changes we made in this clinical item, right now those childs, they all have the same start date of the parent. But if we come in here and change the parent start date, it'll roll down to the children automatically. Right, but it doesn't roll up. Alright, so that's still 7/10. Alright, so we changed the start date on this parent, it changed the start date on the children automatically. So if we come up here to this big parent, this is the top level parent. If we change this start date, we'll make this one the 8th. That'll go out and change all children of it and all subchildren or grandchildren of it also. So if you look, it's gone out and it changed everything underneath it to 7/8. So anytime you're modifying these things is at a parent level, the change in date will roll down to the child level. Okay, the next thing we did was on medications. Well, let's look at a face sheet and scroll down to the medication section. What we did, we spread out the side effects across the whole page. It used to be those side effects showed up, and like this particular medication for Paxil, the side effects would start here and it'd go way down to here somewhere. Well, by spreading it out across the page, we just save some space. The next change is also on medications. You'll start seeing a details button on medications, and if you expand out the details, we can add additional fields now to our medication stuff. So for this sample, for this webinar, I added 3 additional fields to this medication. I added an upload button for the original prescription, an upload button for med logs, and then a test field, a date field. Just added a date field to the medications. So this change allows you to add more fields to your medication screens to track things. The next change we made was on behavior logs and progress notes. For residential, this bar is called progress notes. For foster care and services, it's called behavior logs. This change incorporates a copy tool. So if I come in here and enter this, I'm going to go ahead and give it a supervisor approval, type some notes in here, save it, go back to it. Now I have a copy tool. So I can click on this copy tool and I can call up all my clients, or I can call up all the clients that are in my branch, and I can copy this one behavior log to multiple clients with that functionality. So this change is a copy tool on behavior logs in residential and services, and progress notes in progress notes for residential, behavior logs for foster care and services. And also on the progress notes and behavior logs, as you could tell, the supervisor review wasn't working before, and it's been fixed. So now you can require a supervisor review, and if it's not done, then it's going to sit there purple until the supervisor comes in and checks that box that they reviewed it and they're fine with it, at which time it will be completed. And then the last change is in client care. It used to be when you wanted to undo a client care item, I'm going to go back up to the dental. If you wanted to undo this client care item, here's the undo button. You had to put a date up here first. Well, now you don't have to. Just come in here, click the undo button, answer your few prompts, and it'll undo that client care item without you putting a date in there. So that concludes part 6. Thank you.